Hey everybody, this is Pat from Like Attracts Like Evolution and the Like Attracts Like podcast. Thank you so much for joining me on this video today. I want to say thank you for all of the new subscribers. We actually just hit 500 subscribers, and that is a big deal. And I'm very, very grateful. Initially, this started out as just posting the audio platform content on a video platform. And that obviously was difficult to translate in the beginning, being a video platform. So the fact that it's grown to even this degree, I'm very, very grateful for every single one of you who take the time out of your day to share with me. And that is why I wanted to focus today on something that has been coming up quite a bit, and not just the podcast conversations, but also inside of Like Attracts Like, the mentorship sessions. And that is what happens when the ego throws its final trick at you to get you to repeat the unconscious loops of limitation or lack, or of this limiting base belief system that you cannot move beyond, whatever your story is. So I'm going to quickly go over what this recipe is, hoping that just the conversation in itself will create enough awareness in your own process that you can actually break free from this final trick of the ego, when you can actually feel it in your soul and in your cells as to how it happens. So as you can see here, I have a little timeline as far as how this seems to happen in almost every single human, and it's definitely the way that this transpired in my life. You have you. I think most people who listen to content like this can get behind this. The you, the I am, the beyond the labels, any descriptor that you could apply to yourself as who you are. This is not that. This is the you that is aware of all of this. And in many of the ancient teachings and current teachings, and definitely the message of this show, is that you are not this story. You are not this egoic construct, but you are the I am that is observing it. You are the timeless presence of consciousness itself. And inside of that, I believe that although infinite potential of everything is contained, there is this essence of pure love. And inside of this essence of pure love, there's no label that could stick to that. You are just here to, I believe, create, experience, and manifest the fullness of that within yourself. Well, what's the story? How does this work? Why is it so seemingly difficult and challenging on the human's journey to be able to do that? If this is who we are, and this is just what we came here as, and we can see it in a child, we could see it or remember it most likely from our childhood when we're growing up, this idea we're just carefree, playing with butterflies, running in the park, like all these amazing things. What happens? And the simple thing is that most of us don't have a conscious memory of our life before a certain time. There is a certain, maybe certain anomalies or certain things will fly in here and there, and we'll be like, I don't remember being at the dinner table when I was 2, but I kind of do now. So those things could happen, but for the most part, we don't have an idea of what it was like. There seems to be a certain age that a human being goes, I remember life from here forward. And the really impressionable state in our unconscious, where we are really being programmed, if you will, by the frequency of human beings that are around us. Whatever we came in here, if you believe you chose your family, or you don't believe you chose your family, either way, whatever frequency of human interaction that you have vibrationally, based on belief systems, based on work ethic, based on each individual's human alignment to worth within themselves, their story, what's potentially possible for you, how they go about their life. You are literally you're digesting all of this unconsciously while you are resonating at this frequency here, this fullness of you. And some of these things are bouncing off, and some of them are kind of getting stored as little like, maybe I'll think about this later when I'm older. And eventually you come to a point where you become consciously aware of yourself. Now, the self that you are aware of, although it contains much of this, who you are, this love, this heart, this soul, this unique component to your spirituality, if you will, or your essence here in this reality. There's also now the projections from other people, and there's like this mixture of energy that become this character state of who you are. This, which was once just awareness running, playing with butterflies, is now aware of a story of you, a story of life, a story of reality. And it is technically based on the examples that we are programmed from birth, from the second we come in here, maybe even before that. Depends on how far down the rabbit hole you want to go. Inside of that story exists the mind. The story is contained inside of your mind, And that is where most would identify what they call your ego as, anything that you label yourself as: separation, identity, better than, worse than, insecurities, likes, dislikes. These exist inside of your story. And then you are aware of that story. But inside of that story also begins the story within the story, that is, we are not worthy of love. We are not worthy of living a certain life that we thought we came here to live. So there begins this contrasting state of not just the world as though it is projected onto us, but now the world as though we perceive it. And then this story of worthiness, that we initially came here worthy and now we're not worthy. And it's constantly thrown in our face how not worthy we are by people around us, projecting their own frequency of unworthy onto us. So what happens inside of that story? What is the option? What can we do? Well, the option is, as the awareness of everything here, the awareness of the story and the awareness of the fullness of you, we have to make a choice. And you can make a choice right now. This is not something that, although the ego will try to tell you it could take forever, and it could, but it can also be right now. You can choose to let go of the story by simply believing that you came here worthy and connecting to the I am without a label to describe or define you. So this is a process unto itself, and it could be challenging because of how powerfully we have identified with the ego, the story, and the voice in our head, and what it has been able to convince us of as we go about our journey. So we have to literally detach from the story, which is contained our life force and the literal identity of who we believe we are as a person. And we have to go back to this straight I am awareness, viewing the story, which can feel like you're dying. It can feel like the separation from the story and the awareness of it, and calling BS on a lot of the limitations that were held there or are held there. It can feel like you're dying. You literally have what's called an ego death, because we are attached to so many of these labels, many of them having us feel unworthy. So once we go through this spiritual awakening and this process of being able to identify, release a responsibility from an outside world, go within and literally start to build momentum from this heart center, from your actual connection to consciousness, there is something that can happen where the ego, this story, again, the ego is just it's fighting for your attention. It dies without your attention. So it doesn't want to die. When you start to move your attention from it, it throws everything it can at you so that you give your attention back to it by believing it. And then if you believe it, it's like, okay, good. We're good. I'm relevant now. I'm real now. But it's all an illusion. The awareness of the moment is what we are trying to actually allow so that we can flow with life and not against it. The ego is really resisting life to feel safe and confident and secure. And your awareness of the moment shows that you understand how this works. You believe that you came here worthy, and that from that worthiness, you're going to trust and believe and let life flow through you instead of resisting it. So here's what can happen. Once you get on this spiritual path for quite a while and you go through the process of letting go to the point where you literally can go through your entire story and be like, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I don't understand why I can't let go of this. So what does letting go actually mean? It just means allowing the choice to no longer give your attention to. But what happens when we do that and we go, I'm going to choose over here. I don't want to pay attention to this anymore. I'm over this. Over here starts to shout at you again for you to bring your attention back. And what it does is it uses relevant information based on a past that you were attached to convince you that it's still needed. Your attention is still needed. You can't just overcome this like that. You can't let go of this person. Look what it did to you. Look what you did to so-and-so. Look what your world is. Look what you're living in. You can't ignore this. You're ignoring it. It's irresponsible. It's irresponsible to let this go because of the havoc that you went through or the havoc that you caused. And it brings importance, tries to bring importance to the story. Now, it is not to say that your story was not important, but here's where your story is important. All that pain, all that trauma, all that identity, all that chaos, it was important to wake you up to the moment. The most important thing all that pain could possibly do is show you that you are not that, and that you can connect to the moment and use that pain to inspire yourself and others. There's no more greater importance. So to give your attention to prove that you are ready and willing to let go, don't listen to the voice of the ego, which its last final attempt to get your attention is to show you and tell you that you're still unworthy because of how important what you went through is. It is important, but shift the importance of that pain to focusing on the moment where it is most valuable and beneficial to not just yourself, but to others. It's not the importance of the story that needs to get rehashed out. Once you're ready and you've received the lesson and you're ready to live in the moment, if you listen to the voice of unworthy or the voice that says like you're not worthy of living a better life because of the story, then you're going to go and you're going to go right back to the story and you're going to have to repeat the process. And then you're going to be like, I'm ready to let go. I'm ready to let go. And then it's going to do the same thing because it's a trick and it's going to throw this at you again. And it's going to do the same thing. Hey, are you sure you can't let go of this yet? Well, what about this? But what about this? But what about that? It's irresponsible. It's irresponsible. And basically what all of it is saying is you're not worth living a life where you release this story because of how much importance you gave the story. So there is an irresponsible nature. There is a part of us that's connected to the pain as an identity. And to let go of that pain makes us feel sometimes as though then it must have been for nothing. It's insignificant. And what I went through was not insignificant. So I'm going to hold on to this pain and show you how significant it was by letting it ruin my life. Now you'll see how significant my pain is. But in fact, the pain and the significance of that pain was more valuable than that result could ever be, because showing that you can allow and accept what you went through and the pain of whatever you need to let go of today by moving your attention from it, thanking it. This is where gratitude comes in, where people are like, I could never be thankful for my story. Yes, you can. You can thank all that pain and all that garbage for showing you that you never need to look at it again, that you're over the trick of needing to go revisit it. I guess I got to go through this again and meditate it out. No, you don't. If you're ready and you choose to be ready and be thankful for the lessons that got you here, regardless as to how traumatic or how painful, the answer to letting go is to know that you are this, to know that you are worthy right as you came here. It was the story that needed to be overcome, and now it has been. And you can choose to live your life giving your attention to the moment and not to the story. And that's the trick here. If you give your attention to the moment, you will live life. You will live your life. You will be aligned with what is meant for you. If you understand that your vibrational resonance in the world will increase and you will live a life on that timeline where more of what you've asked for or you prefer will be shown to you, and you will be in alignment with it vibrationally. So you will be able to see what your brain is bringing to your attention based on what you've asked for. If you choose to align with the story again and the trick of the ego that says that we need to look at this a little deeper, we need to go further because of how much pain and importance, if you listen to that and then choose to need to cling to or attach to or be defined by the story and the pain of the story because you're not ready to let go of what you believe the relevance of the story was, then you will repeat the loop. And it will give you new people, places, and things to show you that that is not what the pain of the story was meant for. The pain of the story was meant for you to honor your story by moving beyond it, thanking it. You're not running from it anymore. You actually bring much of your traumatic events and your pain and your story along with you. You just have a different relationship to it. And from that moment, you actually go through your next moment not scared of anything in your past. So you're not worried about it being replicated in your future moment. It's coming with you. And if something does appear to be replicating those experiences in your past, they no longer trigger a fear response inside of you. They trigger more of an inquisitive, like, what's this here? Like you're no longer scared of it. And since you're vibrating at a higher frequency, you're more in alignment with life, which doesn't fear anything. It is what it is, which is what you are. You are what you are. And you are love, and you are peace, and you are joy, and you are balance. And anything that tells you otherwise is a story inside of an ego that's trying to hold on to your attention, because when you give your attention to something else, it dies. Give your attention to the moment. Allow yourself to know that you are worthy enough to move beyond your story, not because it was bad and you have to get rid of it, but because it was your story. That was exactly what you needed to get to this moment to allow you to wake up, that you have a choice. The fact that you have a choice to give your attention to life and to start living your life now. And that is what I wish for each and every single one of you. With that, I leave you as always. Thank you again for joining me on the video. Have an amazing day, wonderful night, and I will see you next time.